Welcome one and all to Umami Manga. I'm Petter and this is James.
Hello.
And today we're talking about Volume 1 of Jujutsu Kaisen, another series that we're starting from the beginning. And before we get into the discussions, let's, talk a little bit about kind of what we have consumed of this series prior to now. I'll start real quick. First of all, I remember that I was actually really close to starting to read this manga, I think it was even before the anime came out.
Mm.
So it wasn't, I guess, that well known at that. I mean, I'm sure it was quite big even before the anime, but I'm sure it gained in popularity even more when the anime came out. But I don't know, something happened that I didn't start reading it. So I guess in a way I'm glad I didn't, because now I'm able to cover it through the podcast this way instead. But
Mm.
and I never saw the anime when it came out either. So I'm really going in completely blind into this. The only thing I have consumed as far as Jujutsu Kaisen goes, other than this first volume, obviously, is Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, the manga. I haven't seen the movie adaptation, but I did read the manga some time back. But what about you, James?
Yeah, I think I've consumed about four fingers so far. No, I watched the anime. I got in on the hype train when it came out, and rightfully so. I think Mappa did a fantastic job, as I'll probably mention a couple times during this discussion.
Mm.
And where the season one ended off, it was pretty well. Like, it wasn't much of a cliffhanger per se. Just like, okay, you know, get ready for whatever happens next
Gotcha.
type of situation. But I was able to control myself enough to not just go straight to the manga. So I didn't read any of the manga until we decided we were going to do this for Umami Manga.
Gotcha.
But I do know all the content within season one.
Yeah, from what I've heard, I guess I can't know for sure, but I think I remember hearing someone say that that season of the anime covers, I think, the first 7 volumes of the manga. So I guess if that is true, then I guess that's how much you know of the story.
That seems about right. I mean, I think it was like 24 episodes or so. It was
Mm,
fairly long
right.
season. And I've also seen Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, the movie.
Right.
I didn't. I haven't read it actually.
Mm.
Although I could easily just do that right now. But I watched the movie and was really impressed, and I think I liked it better than the season one of the anime, to be honest.
Interesting. I mean, I suppose that's fair because I mean, obviously, Jujutsu Kaisen Zero is pretty much a self-contained story, whereas,
Mm-hmm.
I guess season one doesn't really end with quite a conclusion fully, obviously, since it continues with many more volumes after volume 7.
Right.
So I can see that, if that could be maybe one of the reasons why you did enjoy it more.
Yeah. It definitely it felt like an ending, although there definitely was a tie into the first season. How
Mm.
the actual plot of the main story.
Yeah.
But the movie or Zero itself does have kind of a climax and then ending and everything like that. So I think it was a little more just satisfying
Mm, mm.
for me. But anyway, that's all I've seen Jujutsu Kaisen. I mean, I guess that's all there is to do
Right.
without being caught up with to the manga.
Right. Yeah. Well, basically, you've seen all of the anime of it.
Yeah.
And I think it's possible we may bring up Jujutsu Kaisen Zero maybe at some points throughout the discussion if there's anything that we feel relates to it. Obviously, we're not going to focus on talking about the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero story today, obviously, but we may still touch on it potentially if there's anything we feel like has anything to do with that. Since obviously, yeah, we haven't consumed the same Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, but we still know the story of it, both of us. And because since I had read that before, going into just fresh, completely blind into the main series of Jujutsu Kaisen, since I had read Zero before, I did know of some of the kind of the lore and kind of gimmicks of the world, such as like the curtain that they kind of draw down over when they're doing missions and stuff. Like I knew about that, and
Mm-hmm.
I knew of the Jujutsu High School, and and the curses. Like I love the way that the curses are. Well, basically all of the explanations to how curses are spawned and how they well, just how they work. I think it's a pretty fascinating idea, and I also like the designs of them that Akutami comes up with.
Absolutely.
It's really, yeah, it's fun to look at, and
Creepy
just
and grotesque, and yeah,
definitely
it's just very well done.
right, right.
You know, when I first watched the anime, I think it was a bit of a hurdle to totally understand what was going on.
Mm.
I don't know if I could say it was. I felt like I was missing something, but it did take a couple episodes for me to process exactly what was the premise and
Ah.
what the whole jujutsu world was all about and everything. Not to say I expect to understand it automatically, like understand every nook and cranny, but
Right.
I guess it was just the themes and what they were doing that felt kind of hard to grasp at first, and maybe that's just the medium of watching an anime versus having a manga where you can just go back and reread it a few times and be like,
True,
okay,
right.
I understand what's going on now.
Mm-mm. And you didn't feel that way when you read the manga, I guess?
Well, I had already seen it, so
Well,
I
true, true.
understood.
Yeah, I guess it might be hard to compare it then.
Right.
Well, I'll say for me, and I guess that this will be my last thing I'll say before we get into the character discussions here. But I thought it was very good in making me understand everything. Well, to be fair, I did have, as I mentioned, some previous knowledge about the world, I guess. But
Right.
I thought it was clear, and I really appreciated this first volume as a whole. I thought the story and the art were both very good, and the characters were interesting enough. Obviously, there's a lot more to come, I'm sure, but I think it's off to a really good start. And I think what I especially like about the art here was Gege Akutami's way to draw the action scenes specifically, or like everything that has motion in it, and like those sorts of panels. I thought were probably my favorite like pieces of art in this book.
Hmm.
But yeah, I guess if there's nothing else, we should get into the character discussions. Starting with Yuji Itadori, the main character of the series, or at least he seems to be the main character of the series, because I have some worries that maybe he'll like have an early death or something like a I don't know, like a fake out or something. Like, oh, here's the main character, but oh no, he dies in the second volume. Like I don't know.
Right.
Well, I'll talk a little bit about that in a bit, I guess, like a little later. But
Okay.
well, one thing I want to touch on first, and this isn't really related to this volume technically, is that it took me a little bit before I kind of got used to this character being, well, this character, because in the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero manga, there's another character called Toge Inumaki who looks really similar to the way Yuji Itadori is drawn in the main series of Jujutsu Kaisen. From what I understand, that character was, well, he got a bit of a redesign in the anime movie. From what because I looked it up a little bit, and it seems like they changed his appearance a bit to make it, well to make him not look like this guy, which I think is probably a fair change. And I think it was also supervised somehow by Akutami.
Really?
But yeah, like that character in the original manga for Zero looks pretty much just like Yuji.
Interesting. Okay, I'll have to go back and. Oh, I do want to read Zero at some point and see, but yeah, I had no idea they look similar because in the anime those two look nothing alike in my opinion. So it's interesting that you'd find that confusing. So I'll have to go back and
Yeah.
read. Another reason to go read Zero.
Well, he actually Akutami actually made like a point of that, or had a little bit of an explanation of that in the Zero manga, like on a bonus page. He explained, he made a point out of it, like, yeah, they look really similar, but they're different characters. And actually, he made a similar thing with Megumi and the protagonist of Zero, whose name I can't remember at the moment, but I can see that they look a little bit similar, but I don't think they were that similar. But he kind of made that a similar point for them as well.
Maybe he was just feeling self-conscious.
Yeah, but well, at least Inumaki and Itadori look, well, at least in the manga for Zero, look very, very similar. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, it just took me a little while to get used to that being Yuji here. Like it's not the other guy that only speaks in like fish words. But anyway, yeah, anyone who hasn't seen Zero probably doesn't really understand a lot of this. But anyway, moving on from Jujutsu Kaisen Zero into the actual Volume 1 here. what we learn of Yuji, he's super strong, like super strong,
Yeah.
and like can run super fast, and like to me it was a bit strange that he didn't get more attention because of that, like than he had. I mean, he does get attention from based on it, like as we see, I think,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I thought it was a little strange that he doesn't get even more attention, like I don't know, the press or like the military or like I don't know, like people would come over and like investigate him or something, like I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess it's mostly funny.
Yeah, it's funny. And when I first saw it, I did feel like that very standard your main character has to be super OP kind of kind of a thing, like just generically OP. He's
Right.
not your average teenager kind of a thing.
Definitely. Yeah, he's definitely like some sense of like some kind of the chosen one, it seems like.
Yeah, yeah, in a way.
Mm.
Especially what happens in this volume
Mm-hmm.
with him, I guess being able to control the Sukuna.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it did kind of throw me off at first, but it's funny, like funny gag how he breaks the goalpost, with the shot put. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny, and it makes him a viable fighter when it comes to taking down these curses.
Yeah, for sure.
Although, I guess doesn't have curse power at this point, so it's like,
Yeah.
can he really fight against curses?
Right. Yeah, I mean that was interesting because didn't like Gojo told him that he should have like curse power in him just because he ate Sukuna, but I guess he can't utilize it yet or something like that, which I guess he will be able to do in the future, perhaps, if he lives long enough.
Yeah, I
uh,
mean, I don't know. Like, is this a Naruto thing where he uses the chakra of the Nine Tails Fox and
right.
kicks butt? I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder. But well, we got to meet his grandfather a bit. Well, pretty early on. It was really just one scene, and then the granddad just passed away, sadly. But
Yeah.
uh, but it was still. I thought it was a nice scene, and well, at the beginning of it, the grandfather had something important to tell Yuji about Yuji's parents. Like he even tried. He started trying to say something twice. I think at the beginning of
Mm-hmm.
that scene, but Yuji just interrupted him and didn't want to listen. And that just made me curious. Like, what was this important thing he wanted to tell him about his
Right.
parents? Because they seem to be completely out of the picture. Like his grandpa seemed like he I think Yuji referred to him as or well he thought of him somewhat as a father, like that he was like the only guardian he had supposedly, and he also said that he had never experienced like a close person dying before, or like he said something like that. So either his parents died when he was super young, so he doesn't remember it, or they, I don't know, left for some reason. I don't know.
Definitely a mystery,
Mm-hmm.
and it could maybe answer why he's so strong and fast and all that. Because it does
Right.
seem strange that a normal boy would be like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
definitely. Yeah, there is something like because I was wondering if his super strength and speed, whatever, like if it was just like I don't know, like a random thing that occurred with him when he was born, like without any specific reason.
mhm.
That would be kind of lame if that was the case.
Yeah,
Or if it's actually something related to, well, for example, his parents. Like that would be interesting.
right. And I wonder if it has anything to do with the fact that he is basically a vessel or a capable vessel for Sukuna. I always mess up the name.
Right? Yeah,
Sukuna.
yeah, me too.
Uh,
Mm,
so I don't know. Like maybe there's something to be said there, but
mm.
that's as far as I'll speculate.
Right. Oh yeah, and something we should also specify before we go too far. I mean, I guess we're already a little too late to specify this, but just to be clear, regardless, James, even though he knows some things, he will not bring up any spoilers from anything beyond this volume. So
Yep.
this discussion is spoiler safe for anyone who's only read the first volume, and I guess also Zero. But that came out before, so I think it's fair for us to speak about it.
I mean, we won't go into detail or anything like
No,
that.
no, exactly. No, we're definitely not. It's just a few little things, I guess, like little
Yeah.
general stuff.
I find it interesting that Itadori doesn't really want to hear about his parents. He's just kind of like,
Yeah,
no, I don't care. You know,
right.
you're the only parent guardian that I need. Like
Mm,
it, and I mean, and I love his respect and well, love for his grandfather.
yeah.
It's just interesting that he just kind of just blows the whole parent thing out of the way. Maybe that's somewhat subverting expectations. Not the fact that his parents are out of the picture. I mean, that's just kind of on par for the shonen course. But
Yeah.
it's maybe the fact that he just doesn't care at all. Then again, going from Hunter x Hunter kind of had a similar situation there. So anyway, uh, I still find it interesting that he doesn't care, and I think that uh, like you bringing it up, I mean, definitely there is something there.
Right, right. Definitely seems like it. But his grandfather also said to Yuji, "You're a strong kid, so help people." This reminded me really like a lot of Spider-Man's Uncle Ben telling Peter that with great power there must also come great responsibility.
Yeah.
Like it seemed very much like he might as well have said that, you know?
Right. And it kind of has the same effect, you know?
Absolutely it does. Yeah, especially since he also passes away shortly after. But something else he got that Yuji got from his grandfather, or he I guess it's something that he started thinking about after his grandfather had passed away. It's just how much Yuji values a natural death and how strongly he believes in that, both for himself and for other people around him. I guess with that, it becomes kind of ironic that he's almost executed in this volume, and and the plan right now at least is for him to further down the line to get executed anyway. Like it's really just a suspended sentence, as they say. So his fate, at least the way it's looking right now, is for him to, well, definitely not get a natural death. So that's interesting and, well, pretty exciting.
And I think another aspect to what he wants, like, fulfilling his grandpa's will is to die with the people you care about around you.
Right.
Like,
That's
I'm pretty sure
true.
that was part of it as well. So
Yeah.
I think he can still go about. I mean, getting executed right on the spot with just the one finger or whatever, that would pretty much make it impossible to have the people you care about you there at your deathbed.
Mm.
But maybe as the journey goes along, when if he eventually gets all of those fingers
Mm.
in his tummy, he can have a great kind of friendship type of family around him if he has to die.
Yeah, on his
Yeah.
execution. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a thought I had when I was reading.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, that is interesting. Ah, yeah, like it does seem, at least the way it seems to be setting up is like it's gonna have that kind of a probably maybe a bittersweet kind of ending with him eventually dying to save the world or something like that. Like,
Maybe I could see that happening.
right.
I mean, end of this volume does not seem very
Uh, uh,
like hard, encouraging.
yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, he did eat that ancient severed finger, like ew. No, and he ate two. He ate two of them,
Yeah.
and he intends to eat 18 more. That is, well, he's got a strong stomach.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
It is. So this Sakuna guy from ancient times or whatever, like he's in a way reincarnated through or in Yuji's body. But yeah, as we kind of mentioned, yeah, Yuji can easily suppress Sukuna. And when he ate the second finger, I didn't really notice a change. Like it didn't seem different from after he had eaten the first finger. So I I wonder if him eating more fingers will have an effect at all, or if it's just whatever kind of. But if that, but or maybe if with the more fingers he eats, maybe it's harder. Maybe it'll be harder and harder to maintain control. If that's the case, it will be pretty interesting. But I guess, mm, well, but based on what we saw when he ate the second finger, I guess that it is not pointing necessarily in that direction. But maybe it'll reach a point where suddenly it'll be harder to maintain control.
I mean, it is only just 2 fingers versus the 20 he has to collect. So
Yeah,
who
right.
knows?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, then there was this whole thing about the narration, or well, it was through a report that it was implied that either Yuji, Nobara, or Megumi would die on this current mission that we're currently at.
Right.
And well, at first I actually thought that Megumi would be the one to die because I thought I thought I picked up death flags in like during that mission um,
Hmm.
with him, and how the others pointed out how reliable he is, and like how valuable he is to the team, sort of. And I sort of read that as potential death flags for him. But then he and Nobara made it out, seemingly all right. So I guess they're fine, and that only leaves Yuji. So that was why I was a little worried for Yuji to maybe he'll like somehow die. But at the same time, I do honestly have a hard time thinking that this protagonist is going to die in the second volume. While it would be ballsy, it's probably not the case, right? Just because of everything that's been set up here. Like, he has a long journey ahead of him, right? He needs to eat 18 more fingers. Come on. So, I don't know. I don't know. And so basically what I settled on for my speculation on whatever is going to
Hmm.
come of this is that it's possible, I guess, that the report is wrong. That perhaps Yuji will be believed to be dead for some time, and that's why the report was written the way it was written. But maybe he'll rejoin them eventually.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the report is telling the truth, but it's not in the way that you think, kind of a
Ah,
thing.
I wonder.
That
But it literally says one of them died, doesn't it?
hmm
That how yeah, I'm very excited to see what that's going to lead to in the second volume, because it's such a it is a fun way to set up that climax
that arc,
part,
yeah,
kind of.
true.
Yeah um so definitely has me very intrigued.
The the one thing I'll say about it is Yuji has his hand cut off
Yes.
at this point.
Yeah.
So he's not in a great shape at this moment.
Mm.
So I guess that's all I'll say.
Yeah, yeah, I did I did definitely take note of that as well. And like I mean, he takes a lot of damage. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously getting his hand cut off is like the major thing, but he kept on, especially toward the end, like shortly before the volume ended. He took so much damage from that curse that he was fighting. And like I by the way, I loved how Akutami just really he did a great job at portraying just how much pain Yuji was in, and like the intensity of that scene was brilliant, I thought. But he did give control to Sukuna at the end. So, well, a thought I had was that what if when Sukuna takes control of the body, he has some kind of ability to regenerate the body. Although, I mean, we don't really necessarily have reason to suspect that, but
Don't really know what Sukuna's powers are at this
exactly.
point, besides just being ridiculously strong.
Mm, mm,
But
exactly. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's just it's a pretty common ability in a lot of these sorts of stories. So I guess that's why my mind probably went there. But I mean,
mm,
I guess yeah, I don't really necessarily have a reason to think that Sukuna would have that type of power specifically. But regardless, it's super exciting. But yeah, anyway, anything else on Yuji?
apparently Jennifer Lawrence is his type of woman.
Yeah, I wonder. I, I, I hope that's the same in the Japanese like original, because I don't know. Sometimes I feel like localization teams make changes to stuff like that. If
Yeah.
if maybe it was like some who for us would be like an obscure Japanese actress, then they would have changed it to someone that the Western audience would know. I wonder if that's the case, or if it was actually Jennifer Lawrence in the original.
I'm pretty sure in the anime he says Jennifer Lawrence
Okay,
in
all
the
right, cool,
Japanese. I'm pretty
nice,
sure I could be remembering wrong, but I think I remember laughing pretty hard at that.
nice. Okay, that's cool. Okay, I think I
Now, the
like that
fact that
more.
he says Jennifer Lawrence, I mean, obviously she's, you know, attractive person, but she's not in like the mainstream or like in the spotlight at this point. Like it hasn't been for a few years, I feel like. So it does kind of like date itself by saying Jennifer Lawrence. I feel like.
That's fair. That's fair. But I don't mind stuff like that. I think it's kind of charming when things date themselves like that, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I guess moving on to Satoru Gojo next then. And this is the guy I know from, or that I knew from Jujutsu Kaisen 0. So that was fun to see a familiar face, an actual familiar face. It wasn't just someone who looked the same like another character. He claims to be the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer, and he also claims that he beat Sukuna even at Sukuna's like full power level.
He's so chill and cocky.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, Gojo is my favorite character. Just
nice.
Just
okay.
put it out there.
Sweet. Okay, nice. Yeah. I mean, I can see that he's definitely very cool. And about like his claims about his extraordinary power, I am inclined to believe him, or at least that he's the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer. About him being able to beat Sukuna, I guess I don't think even he can really know that for sure. So I guess I'm less sure on that. But I think, yeah, he is really powerful, probably.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we don't get to see much of his power in Volume 1. But, he was keeping his own against Sukuna when he was attacking through Itadori, so...
Right, exactly, yeah. And yeah, he seemed to do that with ease. Plus, I don't know how it is where you read this volume, but in the book, like in the physical book, there's a like little, very, very brief little character bio for him between two of the chapters, where it says that, it says he can do anything he tries, so he tries not to get too involved with anything. According to him, this is all for the sake of the next generation. So, well, the book straight up says he can do anything he tries.
That's like an eloquent way of saying I'm lazy.
Right. But also, like, yeah, definitely. But I can also see it. I mean, I also kind of see a point in it though, like, because if he truly can do everything, and like if he is Superman, and then he does everything for everybody else, so that nobody else needs to make an effort, and then he dies of age, then nobody else will know. Well, no one will have any experience in continuing the work that he did. So the fact that he does leave the work for others, in a sense, can be viewed as a smart thing, I guess.
What do you think about him as a teacher?
Have we even seen him teach? Like, actually? Like, there's curses in that building, go in and deal with them. Like, that's the extent of his teaching.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more like just testing rather than teaching, you know what I mean? Like, he tests Yuji, he tests Nobara.
Yeah.
And he gets Megumi to do all sorts of crazy things.
Right.
But as a teacher, like, it's here. I think they even mentioned this in the manga. I forget some window guy's name, but he says that Gojo is incredibly strong, and it seems to be kind of a waste that he's teaching at the academy. So it does make you wonder, well, why is he bothering teaching? I mean, other than, I guess, maybe he can find some enjoyment in it. And in that bio, he does mention, like you said, the next generation. So maybe he really does just have a strong conviction to put faith, build up the next generation.
Right. Yeah.
But it does seem like something that, for someone of his apparent capability, I mean, who knows, maybe it's all a bluff, but his apparent capability, why is he bothering teaching these children?
Right. I mean, I think it is probably just because of a genuine, I like to think that it is a genuine desire to prepare the younger generation for the future. Though he doesn't know how to teach. He knows how to do. He doesn't know how to teach. But that said, he may still have that desire to teach, even though he doesn't know really how to. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that. I don't really know. I hadn't thought about it, honestly. My last little thing on him is not completely on him, but it's partially on him. Is that he said that they were in possession of 6 fingers, and then Yuji ate one of those fingers, and I wonder why they aren't feeding him with the other 5. Like, what's are they just gonna let them lie around, or I don't know. I don't know what. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Maybe they're in a certain place where it's just too much of a pain to get them. I don't know. Or maybe they just know where they are, and instead of just bothering to grab them and feed him, they're just like, well, let's go find the other ones first.
Fair, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we'll find out. Because I mean, all things considered, I do not think that Yuji will die in the next book, and I do actually think that he's going to eat these 20 fingers over the course of the entire series. And so, yeah, I'm sure we'll find out about those other 5 fingers at some point.
Last thing I have on Gojo is just a question.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel, or what do you think of his design?
I think it's a cool design. The blindfold is definitely like his signature, kind of the way to recognize him. Whenever he doesn't wear them, when he wears like the glasses instead, I barely recognize him at all. I have a hard time like remembering that it's the same person. But well, if I'm not mistaken, in Zero, I don't know if they changed this in the movie or not, but in Zero, I think he wore a white blindfold, but I think it's black here at least in the first volume of the main series. Not that that's a big thing necessarily, but
it's definitely black.
Right? Yeah, it's black here, right? And I think it was white in Zero, at least in the manga. But there is a part in Zero there where he actually takes it off, or at least partially takes it off.
Oh.
At least in the manga. Or he like at least takes it out. Like he reveals one of his eyes.
I'm pretty sure he does that in the movie. I just didn't know if they did it in the manga or not.
So, I mean, that's cool. I guess he can kind of like Rock Lee and his leg weights, kind of like.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up Naruto because when I first saw him, I got strong Kakashi vibes. Kakashi Sensei vibes.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much in the lays about kind of thing, because Kakashi definitely gave that kind of lazy, read my book all day kind of a teacher. Whereas Gojo just kind of seems more like a goofball in a way.
Fair, yeah.
Hit kind of my pace type of dude. But the covering of the eyes, it's like the author was like, "Ooh, I really like Kakashi Sensei, but what if I took a step further, completely blindfolded?" And I just was kind of silly at first because like, how does he see? Like where does he know where he's going?
I guess he's just such a powerful Jujutsu sorcerer that he doesn't need sight.
I guess at some point I just stopped questioning it.
Yeah, no, but like that I kind of had to justify it that way because he does literally say that he is the most powerful Jujutsu sorcerer, and there seem to be a lot of different types of tricks that one can do with Jujutsu sorcery, and I guess he's just wearing that to limit himself to as to not be too incredibly OP, even though he's already very powerful, I guess. So like the leg weights that Rock Lee wears, like just to limit his powers, and he can just take it off if he needs even more powers. But yeah, he's cool. He's cool. I look forward to seeing more of him. He's fun.
Definitely fun, yeah.
Then let's move on to Megumi Fushiguro. I love his divine dog powers.
Yeah.
Very cute and nice.
Yeah.
And he seems to be able to summon other animals as well. Like we see at least a bird and a frog at the end of this volume that I think he summoned both of those.
I think he calls them Shikigami. I don't know if that's all. I forget if that's what they're all called. Like that's what the summonings are called or not. But it seems to be some sort of animal demon tamer type of a situation there.
Yeah, I like it.
So my sister and I, we kind of watched the first season together when we had a chance, and we got into this thing where we would call Megumi Squidward.
What?
We just like because we just thought he was so like, you know, kind of emo, like or edgy, not edgy, but just like
just kind of negative and
negative. Yeah. No smiling, like
right.
we.
I guess usually a SpongeBob then.
Oh, totally. Absolutely.
But I it's also kind of a Naruto Sasuke sort of relationship in a way as well.
Different, but they do have like the kind of opposite dynamic that Naruto and Sasuke had.
Right. But it's funny with Squidward.
Yeah. Lol, I'm Squidward. Like that's what we. Oh my gosh. My sister's hilarious. Even if it's just like inside jokes between us, it's anyway.
I like it.
Just whenever I see him, I think of Squidward. I like his line when he says, "1 in a million," like as he's eating the finger, and it kind of gives you this hope that he's gonna turn out to be the 1 in a million person who can take it in or something like that.
Yeah.
But he's like the worst case scenario, 1 in a million, where he actually gets possessed. I really like that flip. It's very well done.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was a great moment for many reasons, but I agree about that point for sure. He also said later in the book, he points out that like saving the lives of people who would end up kind of taking lives later, and like how that could be a bad thing. And Yuji responds pretty quickly by questioning that and asking why Megumi saved his life.
Uno reverse card.
It definitely and it makes it really really interesting to me because he knew at that point when he wanted to when he basically vouched for Yuji and wanted Yuji to be spared, he knew already that Yuji had this curse in him that was very 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 dangerous, yet he still wanted to keep him alive. But then later on he says this whole thing about people saving people who would take lives later. It's just this massive contradiction, I think. And because of this, I'm just reading Megumi as someone who is very, I think, insecure and who probably is trying to act like someone that he isn't. And that probably stems from something from his past, although obviously we don't know much about his past, but it's something I hope to see more of and to maybe understand the reasons for his actions a little bit better, because he's definitely trying. I think it's pretty clear that he's trying to like play like the cool guy, like to seem like this cool dude. And I mean, sure, he's cool, like, but he's he is much more of a softie, I think, than he wants to show.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I think in that moment he was trying to justify them getting out of there, or not doing what they the right thing or whatever. But maybe he was fighting against what he truly wanted to be.
Maybe. Anything else on Megumi?
His poor doggy died.
Yeah, or like cause I don't know, does he have the ability to like if it dies, can he just bring it back? Like, how does his powers work? I guess I don't know.
All I know is that the dog was headless on the wall.
Yeah, that was definitely not fun. So yeah, I mean, I guess it is possible that if one of his summons dies, then he can't summon it again. But yeah, I guess we'll have to see. But let's move on to Nobara Kugisaki. She's from the countryside, and she seems to be pretty full of herself in a way that I really enjoy.
Really?
I thought yes, I think it's fun.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't stand Nobara.
Really? No.
Like at times she's pretty funny, and I'll root for her. But other times it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm just like, you're so insufferable. I can't. Oh my gosh.
I think she's really funny. Like one of the first things that really got me from her was well, when she met Yuji and Megumi for the first time, and we got to see how she perceived them and her like immediate thoughts about them, I thought that was
Yeah,
hilarious.
it was hilarious.
um, but we also got to see some of her kind of abilities. I thought like those long range nail curse attacks were really cool, and something that I thought was pretty creative, especially when she like brought out that kind of straw doll, like and combined it with the severed arm of that curse, and how she was able to attack it at a long distance,
Yeah.
that way, and it just made me wonder how many other tricks kind of can she pull off using those nail attacks.
Hmm.
So that's something I look forward to seeing more of in the future action scenes. Yeah, just a really cool power, I thought.
Yeah. So full honesty, when I first saw her whip out the hammer and nails, I was like, "That's it." Like that's her thing, and I thought it was kind of silly, to be honest.
Oh.
Uh, which is funny because usually I don't bat an eye at some of the weirder ones, but maybe it's because it's so just normal, or normal is the wrong word, but
I mean, it looks like it doesn't look like anything special, I guess. Like if you
you
just
right, yeah. However, when she grabs the straw doll and exercises the demon that, or the curse that way,
yeah.
I was like, oh, that's really cool. Okay, I like that. So
Yeah.
it's still kind of like, it's not my favorite, but I like that part of it. It has aspects that I like.
Right, right. I think all of it, both the nails, the hammer, and the straw doll, like all of that fits really well with, well, the fact, well, her origins coming from the countryside. I think it works kind of with that aesthetic, and yeah, I think it's nice, a nice connection to her character. But speaking of her, well, her origins or her past, we did get to understand a little bit of, well, of her past. Well, at least a friendship she had had with a girl named Saori,
Hmm.
and well, I think first of all, she doesn't seem to really like to talk about her past much, like because she didn't really, well, she wasn't that fond of answering Yuji's questions, and she quickly tried to change the topic after they had started talking about her past. And she said that her reason for becoming a sorcerer or a jujutsu sorcerer was, well, just really literally just to get to, well, to be able to move into Tokyo and to leave the countryside. And while that may be true, I think there is maybe more to it and more stuff related to this friend of hers, Saori, because she does at some point say that if they meet again, like they should go to that shop or something like that. And I'm guessing maybe after Saori was, well, because Saori left the countryside after she was ostracized there, and I guess she maybe went to Tokyo, and that's why Nobara wanted to move to Tokyo specifically to find Saori again.
Hmm. I have no idea about Saori. So I guess first off, I do think her motivations are not so much that she wanted to go to Tokyo per se, but that she wanted to fulfill something, that she promised Sayori, or there's something there. I mean, obviously
Mm,
Tokyo is part of it, but I think it just has more to do with her friend.
right.
I don't know if Saori actually left the countryside.
I thought that was implied, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think they just drove her out of the village. Like,
Oh yeah,
not that she moved back to Tokyo or anything, but she
true.
just
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't specified where she went, but as you said, yeah, they did drive her out of the out of the village, and beyond that, we don't know where she might have gone.
yeah. So I guess I never thought about it. Like maybe she did actually go back to Tokyo, which would give Nobara a reason to want to go to Tokyo. So that's a wow, yeah, that's a really good point. I feel stupid for not thinking about that. But my impression was that either Saori was still in the countryside, just a different part of it,
Ah, I see. Mm.
or something happened to Saori. Uh,
Yeah.
but I honestly have no idea.
Mm. Yeah. So that's honestly, to me, a really interesting part of Nobara's character right now is this piece of her backstory, which, I mean, maybe it's not something that will be really touched on for a while, like, because it's, I don't know, at least right now, it doesn't seem like the story is moving necessarily to like her focus in that kind of a way, but I'm hoping for it eventually, and I think it would be nice to find out more about her reasons in full for why she became a jujutsu sorcerer.
I mean, a lot could happen in the next volume.
That's fair. That's true. That's true. It's an entire book. But yeah, anything else on her though?
Just a panel or part I liked when she was saved by Megumi with a frog. Her being in the frog's mouth just reminded me of Konosuba.
Yes, same.
So I had to mention that. Being the Konosuba fan I am, I had
of
to
course.
mention that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was great. The rest of the characters are all really minor. We have Sasaki and Iguchi, the two friends of Yuji's from the Occult Research Club, and they did have obviously a bit of a role at the beginning, but they were quickly kind of abandoned in the story. And I just wonder if they'll ever come back into the story again. Like, because part of me kind of feels like maybe they are like too ordinary to stick around in a story like this.
Fair.
So yeah, maybe we've seen all there is from them, but Yuji didn't seem to want to abandon them. Like he said he wanted to stay in their club and everything. So I think it would still be kind of nice if somehow they don't have to be major at all, but if somehow they could stick around from time to time, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the what was her name? Sasaki? No.
Yeah.
Oh, was Sasaki? I kind of liked her occultness thing going on.
But anyway, other characters we had were, Masamichi Yaga is the school principal at Jujutsu High. Anything on him? I don't really have anything on him.
I just think the dolls he makes, like that was funny, but then the one that was beating up on Itadori was pretty great.
Definitely, yeah. That was a pretty cool power. I like that. And there was also Kiyotaka Ijichi, the Jujutsu High School assistant manager, who lowered the curtain in the last part there. I think he was also in Zero and lowered the curtain there, if I'm not mistaken. At least someone lowered the curtain. Maybe it was Gojo. But I recognized his face, so maybe I think he may have been in Zero as well. But yeah, it was very minor as well.
Yeah.
Any other character you want to talk about that we may have missed?
No, I don't. I think we touched on all of them.
Awesome. Then the final bit of our discussion, in terms of predictions, I guess it's mostly me that can probably chime into it, and I think I've shared most of my stuff through the character discussions here.
Well, let me just ask then.
Yes.
Just as a final answer, if you think the narration is correct in saying someone dies, who is it that dies of the three students?
If someone actually does die, I think I'm going with my gut and saying Megumi, although he did escape the building, but I mean, I don't know, maybe he'll go back in for some reason. I don't know. While I do feel like there's a lot of character development and progression that I look forward to seeing from him, I also, as I mentioned, I did sort of feel some sense of red flags during the mission earlier for him specifically, or not red flags, death flags.
Gotcha.
And so yeah, even though he does seem to be safe right now, I will go with him if someone will die. Although ultimately, I'm still probably gonna go with the fact that the report is, either as you said, it's like worded weirdly, or as I thought before that Yuji is believed to be dead for some time when the report is being written, but then it turns out that he wasn't. I think something like that is probably more likely ultimately, I think.
Okay. I don't know if I really got the straight answer I was looking for, but so basically your gut is telling you Megumi, but your brain is saying, no, it's probably going to be Itadori.
But a fake out for him.
But a fake out. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yes. That's my answer on that. And I think that's really the big kind of speculation, prediction kind of topic that this book gives us. Because other than that, yeah, just looking forward to seeing all these characters continue and do their things. I'm enjoying the premise that like it seems like a obviously very basic, I mean pretty shonen-ish premise we got here with this protagonist who has this unique power that only he can use, and he is now on a journey to eat 20 fingers. Like it kind of puts
a culinary delicacy.
Yes, but I thought it was funny. It sort of puts My Hero Academia to shame with Isugi Midoriya eating a strand of hair. Like, if you think that's gross, come on, try eating 20 ancient severed fingers. But yeah. No, I think it's exciting. I think, like, because it's such a, I mean, it's a simple kind of premise like that. Just like find the 20 fingers, and I do enjoy stories like that. Like, obviously, it's not going to be as simple as just saying it like that. Obviously, it's going to take many volumes. I have a feeling this manga is going to go on for a while. I mean, it's already gone on for like almost 20 volumes. I think in Japan, like like 18 at least. I think in Japan right now. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about the production or like the goings on in the manga as it's going. So I guess I don't know if it's supposedly close to an ending or anything like that. I don't know anything like that, but at least I get the feeling that this might be maybe a long one. But that's really just a gut feeling. But I'm excited. I again, I thought this volume gives the series a strong start, and I'm excited to continue.
Nice.
Yes, and I also, once we catch up to however much is covered in the first season of the anime, I look forward to watching that as well. Because I have heard good things. I've also heard, like, from some people who thought the pacing was better, supposedly, in the anime, compared to the manga, but, well, I'll have to see for myself, I guess, at some point.
Yeah. I can't say so much about the pacing in this first volume. I thought it was fine. But I do think that I enjoyed, and maybe it's because the first time I saw it, but I enjoyed the anime more than reading the manga. That Mappa has so many incredible shots and just dynamic moments that kind of put some of the panels and fight scenes to shame.
Okay,
Volume 1.
Fair. I mean, yeah, because while as I said at the start, I definitely do think that Akutami portrays action really well on his pages. Obviously, like the anime medium, like an actual animated medium, would portray that supposedly better, or at least it has the potential to portray it better. And yeah, obviously, I know Mappa is a good studio, so I'm sure that the action is pretty good there.
Yeah, and just to clarify, it's not even so much that there's movement; it's just how they do it, how they show it.
Okay.
Even how Itadori eats the first finger is different in the anime. I like it better in the anime. So anyway,
when you said that it's different, for some reason in my head I got like a magical girl transformation sequence in my head for like when he ate the finger. I don't know why. Anyway, sorry.
It's so good.
But yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, in my first read through, I think I was just in a bad mood when I read the first volume. So in my reread, I think I enjoyed it a little more. So that's good.
Me too, actually, because when I read this the first time, I was sitting outside in the park, which I love reading manga in the park. Like, often I like to do that, except this time there was like so much like allergies I was affected by, and like my nose was running and itching the entire time, and it was really annoying. Ew. So I also had a bad first read experience. But maybe that's all for the first volume's discussion here on Umami Manga.
I think so.
Yeah. And real quick before we end it, I would just like to advertise our Discord server that we have, the Umami Manga Discord server, where it's an open server, anyone can join, where we chat and talk about well, definitely all of the series that we cover on the podcast, because here on Umami Manga, for anyone who doesn't know, we cover various other manga, such as Kaguya-sama Love is War, Spy Family, Vinland Saga, To Your Eternity, Free Ren Beyond Journey's End, and Kaiju number 8. So, we talk about all those manga, but obviously we can talk about any type of manga, anime at all on there. So it's a small but growing little server, and I think is a very nice place. We have a good community there, I think.
I agree.
Yeah. And if you enjoy our content, you can follow us on Twitter at Umami Manga. And it would be lovely if you'd like to support us by either rating our show on the podcast platforms or subscribing to our channel Umami Manga on YouTube. If you like this episode, please share it with anyone you think might enjoy it too. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time when we'll talk about Volume 2. Bye-bye!
A finger a day keeps the executioner away. See you later! I came up with that on the spot, by the way.
Awesome.